Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. That means, once again, we got some more pro wrestling reviews for everybody. This time we have five of them. Now, the first one we're going to do is the latest from Ganbare Pro Wrestling, which is called the Elevation to the Gallows that took place recently. And this one features two title matches, the tag team titles and the World Openweight title. But we also have other good matches we definitely going to enjoy on that. Then we move ahead with day three of World Tag League. Now we're only going to focus on Block A matches only, not the preview matches, because I felt the matches for World Tag League are more important. Then we move on with MLW Fusion for Thanksgiving. So a lot of things took place, but as you know, this one reveals that the World Titan Federation are making big plays to claim that MLW will finally be back to its rightful place as sports entertainers. Impact Wrestling, as you know, did not show a lot of things, but however, they did show a clip of a recent match where they brought back the turkey. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain that to you guys later. And then, of course, we have Ring of Honor with some interesting matches. We got the pure title on the line because Hiro Shibata defends it against Trent Beretta. And we also have a very interesting main event that features our current women's champion, Athena, and her protege, Billy Starks, taking on Marina Shafir, and of course, someone you guys may know, but we will be talking about her later on at some point. Not on this episode, but at some point. I'm talking about Ronda Rousey. And of course, we cap it up with some news updates. Majority of it is all about GCW's much upcoming events, not only for this year, but also for next year. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews on pro wrestling from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, um, promotions, the storylines, factions, however you want to bring it up. We also do some news updates in case if I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it another date. So very on. But if you like what you see, please subscribe to us here. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and all the cool stuff on this channel. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or leave us a nice comment down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review, and this is from the Japanese promotion Ganbare Pro Wrestling, or as known as Gun Pro, with their latest show called Elevation to the Gallows. Now, this one has uh, title matches involving. One will be in the tag team titles, which is the semi-main event, and then, of course, the main event, the World Openweight Championship. Now, our very first match, we have the Yoshi wrestlers taking up the stage. First team, we have Riara and Yuri taking on Yoshiko Hasegawa and Color's de facto leader, Saki. Now, this match was pretty interesting. Now, there was a bit of the aggressiveness coming from Saki as always. Saki has always shown that she, um, you know, is capable of picking up good wins. Now, we have seen Yoshiko Hasegawa in the past, who people have declared that she is the second best of Ganbare Yoshi. However, she wants to prove that she can jump into the first. But however, she's facing someone who has been declared to be the number one, as I said before, Yuri. But however, this particular match ended with Saki applying the Sazume Katami, which is kind of like the sharpshooter or Scorpion Deathlock submission onto Riara. But however, Riara attempted to escape. It didn't do any well for her, but she had no other choice but to tap. Now, our second match, we had a very interesting one. We have Trans Am Hiroshi taking on Yomehiro Imamari. Nothing too big on this particular match, but however, this match did ended with Imanari applying a crab hold, or should I say, a Boston crab. So that kind of ends. However, in a surprising promotion, this was later revealed by the DDT unofficial English webpage where they talk about these matches. Apparently, Inamari got the confirmation from the Ganbare Pro office telling them that there will be a team to be at the next Gleech show. That'll take place late in December, somewhere in December. So everybody's excited for that. Now, our next match, we have a bit of the intergender six-person tag match. Team number one, we have Arukaze. She teams up with Shinichiro Tominaga and Soma Toko. Their opponents are none other than Tyson Maeguchi, Bani Oikawa, and of course, the return of Dan the Dad. Now, those who don't know, Bani, when she first appeared at Ganbare Yoshi, her sole determination is that she wants to wrestle in Ganbare Pro. However, her old friend Miyako Matsumoto was to try to help her, but however, one of the general managers of Ganbare Yoshi made it clear that she doesn't need Miyako because they don't like her. So this is her debut match in Ganbare Pro, which is very interesting. Now, as for Dan the Dad, this is not the first time he's ever been in Ganbare Pro, but I'm glad that he was back. And of course, the match will throw in with a couple of comedy routines, especially Dan the Dad drinking his coffee. But however, Dan the Dad applied the "You're Grounded" move onto Tominaga, and he picked up the win. So everybody's favorite dad just won in Tokyo. So yes. Now our next match, once again, we have the long-standing rivalry between a couple of individuals in this match. Team number one, we have Kuma Arashi and Koji Doi. They take on Mizuki Wadaze and Ken Oka. Now, Ken Oka has been at war with Koji Doi for quite some time now. Koji Doi and Ken Oka go way back. But during a Ganbare Pro Wrestling show, Koji Doi turned his back on him, betraying him, and now he's at a war where he cannot even defeat him, no matter who he has by his side or if he's capable by himself. But unfortunately, it was a Wadaze who ended up on the wrong side of the lariat by Koji Doi to pick up the win. Now, our next match is one of two title matches. We have the Spirit of Ganbare World Tag Team titles. We have the challengers, Manatatsu Nakamura and Kisuke Ishii. They take on Takuya Wada and, of course, Shuichiro Katsumura. Now, this is, of course, so far their third title defense for Wada and Katsumura. Pretty good match. It was exactly like I thought it would be, very interesting. But in the end, of course, it was Katsumura with the triple three lock onto Nakamura and force him to tap out. Now, our next match, we have, of course, the Spirit of Ganbare World Openweight title. One half of the KOD Tag Team Champions, Shota, he challenges for this belt against the current champion, all the way from Pro Wrestling Bizarro, and the founder himself, Azami Kodoka. Now, this is, of course, Kodoka's fourth title defense. So I wasn't too sure, but there were some interesting moments where you would have assumed Shota would have had the upper hand. But however, it was Kodaka very interesting maneuvers to pick up the win, but it was the cradle cutback that finished off the job and allowed him to win the match. Now, Kodaka actually gave their promo setting to clear some words to Shota, but however, he was visited by someone else who it seems that he wants to challenge for the belt, and that is one half of the Ganbare World Tag Team Champions, Katsumura. So I wouldn't be surprised if that match will happen soon, but I'm looking forward to hear what's going to happen in the future for that. So I think that's pretty much it with Ganbare Pro. I believe it's time for New Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag League. Okay, so we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling with World Tag League. We're in day 3 at this point. Now, as I said before, we're going to focus on the matches themselves. We're in Block A. Now, we do have a really good start that we had on day 1. So this is what we have. Our first match, we have the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan and Teo Leona taking on Chaos members Toru Yano, and of course 1/3 of the never openweight 6-man tag team champions Tomohiro Ishii. Now, one thing that I did like is, of course, we did see the strength of Gates of, of Agony. Now, Yano has to pull up some tricks in order to pick up the win. But when it comes to Tomohiro Ishii, he's the kind of guy he's not going to stop. He's going to keep on going until someone's head is knocked off. So that kind of goes on. But however, the Gates of Agony suffered their second loss, even though, as Kevin Kelly would say, "Oh, my monitor went out. What happened? Low blow. I didn't see that." So yes, Toru Yano low blowed both Khan and Leona for this match. So basically giving them their first 2 points. But however, once again, as I said before, this is Gates of Agony. This is their second loss so far. Now, our next match, we got the boys from Noah, Rohei Oiwa and Kaito Kiyomiya taking on the, the United Empire's Great Khan and Henare. Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup. So I wasn't too sure how this was going, but man, Kiyomiya and AOI really worked together. But unfortunately, it was Khan who picked up the win on Oiwa. So this run now leads to 2 points each. Basically, both teams now are one win and one loss. So we'll see where that progresses. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Shota Umino and Ren Narita taking on the War Dogs, Kid and Coughlin. However, as you've seen, Shota Umino comes out through the audience in order to greet the fans. He was viciously attacked by those pieces of garbages, Coughlin and Kid. Now, Kid claims that he's the future ace of New Japan. Well, I don't think so. They continue to aggress, but once again, with their aggressiveness, they used a chair behind the ref's back without seeing it, but it was Kid who made the final blow with, of course, the pile driver. So basically, they don't care how this ends as long as they get the win. But at this point, much like earlier, both teams do have 2 points with one win and one loss each. Now, our next match, this one I think people find it very fun and interesting. Those also the other most hated group. Well, I have to say they're the most hated group than the War Dogs, the House of Torture. We're talking about Yujiro Takahashi and Evil taking on TMDK's Shane Hayes and Nichols. Now, of course, the spoiler Dick Togo was going to be there. Luckily for them, Ichiban's sweet boy, what's his name? Fujita, Kosa Fujita was there too in order to help. Now, at some point, this was going to happen. The other members of House of Torch showed up. That piece of garbage shows up, rings the bell to play the confusion. Ref was knocked out. Then Kanemaru shows up out of nowhere. But luckily, of course, Kanemaru actually misfired his whiskey mist onto Sho. But luckily, Ichiban's sweet boy Vegeta cleaned house, took out Dick Togo, Show, and Kanemaru out. But, however, they took out Evil with the Tank Buster. But unfortunately for the Tokyo Pimp, he in fact suffered the Super Tank Buster, giving, of course, TMDK win. However, this is the most interesting part. TMDK are now currently undefeated in their block with 4 points. That means they only have 2 wins, and right now they are currently in the lead in their block in this tournament. As for House of Torture, well, they may have 1 win, but they just suffered their first loss. Well, I guess they will never be undefeated at all. But however, there is the possibility because of this match, I could definitely see TMDK possibly winning the tournament. So they, to me, I say they're my first pick at this point. So we will see how B block will be the next time. So I think that's pretty much it with New Japan. Let's move on with MLW. Okay, MLW. Now, I wasn't too sure if they were going to actually throw in this, but um, it was a pretty interesting how the storylines have been built up. Now, I did not see their latest pay per view, Fightland, but there was some interesting developments. Amongst them, as you know, I mentioned, I reported Alex Hammerstone requested his release, but later it was revealed by the main event at Fightland that he is now signed with the World Titan Federation, which is, of course, Mr. St. Laurent's group, where they're trying to build up the sports entertainer. So we're doing that whole thing like what the Jericho Appreciation Society are doing, that the sports entertainers are the most dominating group. So they're trying to say, forget about this combat sport crap. It's all about the sports entertainer. But Alex Hammerstone, on the other hand, was questioned why did he sign with the World Titan Federation? Well, that's simple. He felt that Court Bauer was not returning his phone calls, but the one person that did was, of course, Saint Laurent. So that would make a lot more sense. Now, our next match, we have TJ Crawford taking on Nolo Quintana. Now, Crawford has been very upset at the fact that Tony Deppen, who's a very despicable person, attacked Kevin Blackwood for no apparent reason, was suspended. Now, throughout the entire match, things were normal until a mask of Stalin show up. Now, of course, the initial assumption it could have been Tony Deppen. We don't know that for sure. But out of the blue, here comes Griffin McCoy to attack Nola Quintana, costing him the match, giving TJ Crawford the whole thing. So we don't know what exactly is going on here, but it only indicates now that TJ Crawford, who defeated Nola Quintana with the servo bullet, which is like a spinning heel kick, knocked him out. It was over right from there. Now, Mascara Dorada, not the Grand Metalik who we know in AEW, ROH. This is a brand new Mascara Dorada, in case anybody asks. So basically, he is now calling out Rocky Romero for his match. Now, he will not give him a title shot for the world historic welterweight title, but now he's gunning for the middleweight title. Rocky Romero even responded to that, saying that he's going to make him wish he never actually challenged him, right in front of Ocilio De La Renta. However, Ichiban, who's been asking for his match after winning his, apparently he was demanding it, but however, Ocilio De La Renta was not having it, so she sent a clear message. But the obvious thing is, will Ichiban listen? We don't know. Now, we do have a women's match taking place. We have the Notorious Mimi taking on Tiara James. Now, we have seen these women before in this, but the obvious question, will this match put them in a title consistency for the women's featherweight title, currently being held by Janai Kai? Well, the obvious question is that Tiara James did pick up a good win, so she is currently undefeated in MLW. But during the post-match comments with Sam Laterna, she indicated what she is planning. So she is gunning for the women's featherweight title. Now, as you know, I mentioned before, the World Titan Federation are now making their presence known. So the obvious question is, now that they have Hammerstone, what's next from here on out with MLS? Well, apparently MLS said to himself that there are some people that he's willing to sign. And apparently there was one person that got into his mind, and that is, of course, Mance Warner's second gear crewmate, of course, one called Manders. Now I'm not sure if, but Manders, of course, is pissed at the fact that Mans was gone, but uh, Laurent was trying to tell him that he's better off without him. So I don't know how that feels, but we'll see how that. But we do know that Mans he'll he'll be doing something else from here on out. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does return. Now, during an interview with Alex Kane by Sam Laterna, as you know, after winning his match against Jacob Fatu, apparently now Alex Kane has turned his attentions on the World Time Federation, where of course they're trying to prove that this is their house. But however, Kane is not going to go down without a fight, regardless. That he feels that this is not what they've been doing was uncalled for, even attacking Thomas, making him believe that Fatu was responsible for it. So that's pretty much what's happening. Now, as you know, Becca, who has been making her name in MLW, hasn't been seen for a while. However, she's been followed by a fan who's been in love with her named Love Dog. But however, Becca set him up by saying they were on a date, and there was a guy who I seen before, but I cannot recall his name, but he claims that he was Becca's boyfriend and attacked Love Dog with a crowbar. So don't know where that's going to lead us, but we will see what happens. Now, our main event features the World Time Federation, more specifically Tom Lawler and Matt Cardona taking on the Bumaye Fight Club, Alex Kane and Mr. Thomas. Now, you know there's going to be some dirty tricks by the World Time Federation to set up their point. However, apparently, Alex Kane was getting his hands on Tom Lawler, but it wasn't doing any well. But unfortunately, it was Matt Cardona who low blowed Mr. Thomas and then applied the radio silence. So basically picking up the win on this match. But the obvious question does tell, will Matt Cardona obtain the MLW World title at One Shot in December? We will see about that. But the obvious question does tell, if they do obtain the belt, does that mean that the World Title Federation controls MLW? Well, we'll just wait and see where that leads us from here on out. And I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with Impact Wrestling. Okay, Impact Wrestling now. Initially, I wasn't too sure about this one either because, as you know, well, it's Thanksgiving and all. However, they decided to do a one match show because apparently throughout the entirety, they throw in a bit of the memorable moments during Thanksgiving. Like, for example, the Thanksgiving gravy train turkey trot. Now, if you're unfamiliarized with that, let me explain that. Basically, what that is, that it's a match where the loser has to wear a turkey costume. Yes, the most embarrassing thing for anybody to go through. Alex Shelley's been through it, so did AJ Styles, and a few others. So basically, we've been seeing that. However, they only showed this one match involving that for this year. So they brought it back, and this is who they brought. We have, of course, those morons, the Good Hands, Jason Hodge and John Schuyler, Champagne Singh and Jai Vidal. They take on Johnny Swinger, Mike Bailey, Jake Something, and of course the French Canadian monster Frankenstein, PCO. Now, obviously, you probably would see people as the turkey. I mean, personally, I would have liked to see one of the Good Hands to be. But however, there was some great moments of this match. I mean, everybody was outside the ring. But unfortunately, in this particular match, it was Jai Vidal who suffered in the hands of of PCO with the PCO salt, and he lost. Now, however, because he lost, he has to wear the turkey costume. So Jai Vidal was saying, "Oh hell no!" So basically, he was avoiding it. He tried to make a run for it, but luckily, Savannah Evans like, you're not running away." So basically, he crept up to him and put him in the ring. But Giselle Shaw, who was not having it tell him, hey, you lost. Where the turkey. So basically, he's been trying, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. I didn't sign up for this. Well, he was the one who lost. So basically, he had no other choice because you don't want to be on the bad side of the quintessential diva. That's the last thing you want. But he did wear it. Well, now he's going to be embarrassed for the rest of his life for wearing the turkey outfit. Now, for the rest of the entire programming, they continue on with Thanksgiving memorable that dates back from TNA and all this other stuff. But this is the only match I thought they had that I decided, you know what, let's just talk about it because it's a lot of fun. So I think that's it for Impact Wrestling. I think it's time for our final review, Ring of Honor. Okay, our final review, Ring of Honor. It started out with our current Ring of Honor World Women's Champion, Athena, along with her protege, Billy. Now, as you know, that they are looking for some hussies that they're willing to step up to the plate. So they decided to put out an open challenge. Now, as soon as they left, knowing that they initiated the challenge, Marina Shafir was there, and of course, she made a phone call. Now, we don't know who it was, but it was later revealed it was none other than Ronda Rousey. Now, the reason this match was set because, as you know, there was, if you guys remember, I just recently reviewed the last Wrestling Revolver show that leads to it. Now, Ring of Honor did have the pleasure and courtesy from Wrestling Revolver to show them what happened. If you guys don't remember, let me recap this for all of you. What happened is there was that match between Athena and Billy Starks to take on Ronda Rousey and Marina Shafir. However, Athena used the belt and whacked what's her name, Marina Shafir for it. However, the ref made the decision to say it was a no contest match. Now, I don't know if Riccaboni heard it right because he said that it was a disqualification. It was a disqualification, but it was not a win. Somehow he said that Ronda Rousey and Marina Shafir win, but no. Official record says that it was no one won. It was just a no contest indicated by the ref. But yes, so that's what happened. So that match was our main event. Now, our first opening match is the Pures Wrestling Championship. Trent Beretta from the Best Friends take on Katsuyori Shibata. I thought the match was fantastic. I mean, I was impressed by the whole thing, but unfortunately, Trent was very short in obtaining this belt until he received the PK by Shibata, and it was over. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Now, our next match is a women's four-corner survival match. We have Diamante versus Trish Adora versus Kara Hogan versus Wilton Nangale. Now, there were some good moments between both Kara and Diamante at some cases. If you guys know this or not, in real life, those two are in fact a couple. Yes, they're le- lesbians and that sort of thing. So I think it kind of played out, but I don't know if they will put them like an on-screen type of thing. But it was a pretty good match. But unfortunately, Trish Adora suffered in the hands, of course, of the Dr. Bomb by Wilton Nightingale. So she picked up a fantastic win. So this hopefully could put her back into the to the title picture talks, for her to have another shot of the ROH Women's World Title. Now, our next match is a rematch between both a long-standing feud between Tony Nese and Ethan Page. Now, let me explain how this match came about. Ethan Page, ever since arriving to Ring of Honor, has been on a roll becoming undefeated. But however, Tony Nese, who felt that, Ethan Page was ducking him. Now, Ethan Page was not ducking him. But however, because of that same little weasel, Mark Sterling cost them the match. But however, Ethan Page decided, I'm going to play it this game. So basically, they got the rematch. But of course, Sterling was going to get himself involved in this match. But unfortunately, he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. And Aubrey Edwards, who he paid off, told him to skedaddle. So basically, him paying off did not do any good for him. But unfortunately, it was a big boot onto Tony Nese by Ethan Page to win. But however, as you know, the Code of Honor, Nice wasn't having it, so he felt that this match was ridiculous, that he thought he could win anyway. But later on during an interview with the Weasel Sterling and the moron Nice, they felt that this is not over. So so basically you can tell that Sterling was having a temper tantrum because apparently this is not supposed to happen. Nice was supposed to win, but it did not work because he thought that Aubrey Edwards was on his side. Well, it didn't help. But however, Ethan Page, who Lexi Neer knows, so basically Ethan Page is also declaring that this is not over because no matter what Ethan Page is trying to do, who is trying to make a name himself in Ring of Honor, it seems that Tony Nese is not going to let that go. Basically, he feels like you don't deserve a world title match. That's mine. So basically, that's the battle about who gets the most attention. Now, our next match, we have like a somewhat type of a four-corner match, four-corner survival match in the tag team way. We have the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake versus the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson. The Infantry, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, and of course, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. I was surprised to see them, but I thought the match was really fantastic. I mean, excellent tag team, and not to mention some chops taking place. But however, unfortunately, in this particular match, it was the Workhorsemen that took out Jarrell Nelson, giving Anthony Henry the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. It's over. So we could definitely see the Workhorsemen, in my opinion, could be the next potential challengers for the ROH World Tag Team titles. That's something we can definitely see down the line. Now moving on, we have another Pure Rules match. We have Lee Moriarty taking on Wheeler Yuta. Now, we know these two guys are amongst the best technical wrestlers today that we have seen so far. But however, Wheeler Yuta is a very much aggressive individual. But one thing that surprised me about this match, now you know the rules about rope breaks. Now, basically, if you're in a submission, you're in a rope break. So basically, in this entirety of the match, there was no rope breaks involved. But it was, of course, a seatbelt made by Wheeler Yuta to pick up the win. So I have to say I was impressed by this match. No rope breaks were being used at all. So very impressive. Now we do have another Four Corners match. We have Lee Johnson versus Willie Mack versus Jack Cartwheel versus what's his name? Oh yeah, Fred Rosser. I think this match was pretty good, but what I did like about this is how they're telling the story about Lee Johnson. Now, keep in mind, Lee Johnson is now being scouted by Shane Taylor. Of course, as you know, they're trying to persuade him to join Shane Taylor Promotions. That's something that's been going on. But however, what I did like, of course, Jack Cartwheel always impresses me with his high flying capabilities, as always. But of course, one thing that was very impressive is how Johnson outsmarted Rousey by Fred Rosser with a misdirection, picking up the win with a pinfall. So, I mean, this is huge because he actually pinned a former New Japan Strong Openweight champion. So this is a good opportunity for him. But I'm sure that is something that Shane Taylor is thinking as well. Thinking that the boy you want has pinned a champion. So that's something I'm sure he's going to use to convince them, saying, you're better off with us, boy. That's how it is. Now, our main event, of course, is Billy Starks and Athena taking on Marina Shafir and Ronda Rousey. So that practically is the match I was going to be. So, however, of course, this is more of a payback for what happened in Wrestling Revolver. Now, I can tell you that this match ended with Billy Starks losing the match due to the fact that she ended up on the wrong side of the armbar. So basically, she picked up the win. But there was a moment where we did see Ronda Rousey holding the ROH Women's Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case because, as you know, Athena had claimed herself to be the baddest bitch in the Ring of Honor roster. But we do know someone else who's the baddest bitch, and that is, of course, Ronda Rousey. Now, we will talk about Ronda Rousey at some point, but not on this episode. I'm thinking about talking about it at some other point at a later time. So I think that's pretty much it with all the reviews. Let's move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have so far. Everything is all about the GCW, what's been going on. Now, as you know, in early December, on the 2nd of December in Hartford, Connecticut, they will have the show called Come On Dude. Well, apparently they announced that Justin Credible, someone you guys are familiarized with in the ECW and WWE, will be making his return to GCW. Now, GCW announced for 2 shows for starting also happening in 2024. One is called No Compadre, will be taking place in Chicago on the 12th of January, and then a day later in Columbus, Ohio, called 56 Birds on the 13th of April. So those 2 events have been announced. However, they announced for 2 wrestlers that will be participating in both shows. We have, of course, the Young Goat, Myron Reed, and of course, Microman. So those 2 will be participating. However, apparently it was announced for the No Compadre show in Chicago on the 12th. The War Dogs, Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd, will be making the return to GCW. Now, officially, I got the full calendar from a GCW that they have, starting from the remainder of the year all the way to February of 2024. So let's review what events they will be doing that time. Now, they should be right now in Winston Salem, North Carolina, on the 2nd. Which is going to be the Come On Dude, in Hartford, Connecticut on the 3rd. Uh, they will be in Brooklyn on the 3rd of December, back in LA on the 9th of December. Then they'll head to Mexico for the Junkyard. I'm going to presume that they'll be collaborating with Zone 23. And then on the 21st, they'll make their way to Bridgeway Park in New Jersey on the 21st. Then, of course, we have on the 30th, the 31st at Atlantic City in New Jersey at the Showboat. Then on the 12th, which we just announced, the No Compadre show in Chicago. And then for 56 Birds in Columbus, Ohio. But they will be making their way to Tampa, Florida for a two-day show on the 26th and 27th of January of 2024. Then on the 3rd of February, they'll be making their way back to LA at the UCC. Then after that, on the 9th and the 10th of February, they'll be back in at the White Eagle Hall at Jersey City. So that's pretty much the calendar they have. So this is all the updates right now with GCW. I don't have any other things going on. But however, if I'm unable to put what I couldn't get on this, I will put that in a separate news update. So stand by for that if that's the case. So I think that's pretty much it what we have so far with everything else. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Personally, I want to admit I wasn't too sure how this was going to go because, as you know, as I felt earlier, it is Thanksgiving. By the time this video is out, we're no longer on having Thanksgiving. So, so basically, I just took faith. But however, I was 100% ready to do the New Japan and the Ganbare Pro. If it was necessary. However, if I was unable to do either MLW, Impact, or Ring of Honor, there was not going to be a problem. But I'm glad that I put all 5 shows in one lump sum on this one, since it is Thursday. But however, what's going to happen tomorrow? Well, as always, we do have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. Now, I haven't decided what I'm going to do before then, but we will see. But I did mention if there's any news updates that I haven't put on this episode, I'll put that separately. Also, one more thing I failed to mention, I will be doing another Unagi Sayaka Watch video that will be coming up real soon. and we'll go from there. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.